that thing.
Hey everyone.
Greetings.
Welcome.
Greetings and salutations.
Live from Spokane. Can we adjust the camera or is this going to really freak everything out?
What do you want to do?
Like, I want it more that, well, I just don't like seeing my counter here.
We'll move that way.
Are you
that's too
insane?
hard. All right, hold on.
It's not a big deal. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It is fine.
So, hey everyone.
Hello, hello.
So, I didn't post the project I'm making because I haven't made it yet. This is the first time.
We did one and we decided to do something different.
Yeah. So, while everyone joins, I'm just getting the base of my card ready, which is black licorice.
Multiple Sean's, hello. That's a little different. It's all right.
Thank you. So, I'm getting my black licorice ready. And I'm using just Fun Stamper's Journey Silver Silk. So, hello everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Let me go ahead and go over a couple of quick things here. If you guys are new to live, this is live right now, but if you're watching a replay, that's fine. We are answering questions live. I know that you cannot see the questions in the replay, and that's why Sean will be asking the questions as they come up. All of the product I am using for this card is down below in the description. So feel free to check down there for everything. If you use those links, some of them support me, and I will be letting you know what I'm using and stuff. And we're making a Halloween card today. I'm so excited because this is the first official Halloween card I've made of the season. And we're going to let everyone join. We have a few more minutes. We went purposely early so I could kind of start on the card and then also show you something that I finally opened and we can see full display. So while everyone's joining, Sean will look for questions, but this is the Fun Stamper's Journey Fall Fest prints. And you guys, I'm obsessed with this paper now that I've opened it. It has amazing designs, not only just for Halloween, but fall. You have, it is double-sided. It's a thicker stock, but it's got, look at this, it's got candy. And then look at this village it has. How fun is that? And then you have these party ghosts, which actually correlate with a stamp set. A spooky forest. This one, I was starting to, as you can see, I started a project and then we changed our mind. But it has these little bones, which I thought at first were dog bones, but really they're, you know, skeletons.
Humor. And
then it's got some amazing fall prints for Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving at our house every year, so this will come in awesome. What's cool about this one is it's a gradual. Orange, got acorns, we have leaves, and we have fall. So kind of cool, huh? All right, so let's get started on the card. Once again, Sean will be looking for everything. This is the base of the card, and it's just black licorice, so we're going to be folding this in half. It's an A2 size card. I love silks, how it gives it. Look at that finish it gives it. This is the whole reason I joined Fun Stamper's Journey. So that will be our base card. Now, the inspiration for this card, just so you guys know, is when I was a kid, we would go to the grocery store around Halloween, and we would use our Halloween, or we would use our grocery paper bags as getting candy. That's what we would use, is that and pillowcases. And when you would go to grocery stores, they would look like this kind of. I don't know if you guys remember this, but they would be your grocery bag, and then they would always have like a Halloween decoration, or it would have some sort of decoration, and it was always just one color. You know, so it just was black and orange. And when I was thinking about the card, I saw this, and I was like, I have to do something. So, this is either going to be an epic win or an epic fail. We don't know which one, Sean. We have not produced this card yet, so this is new, Sean, isn't it?
It is kind of new. You're right, Tamitha. I remember those bags, too.
I loved them. It literally brought me back to my childhood, because I was like, every time we would go to the grocery store, they would have those, and it just fun. All right, so we are using Christopher Allen, Brutus Monroe craft paper.
You want to zoom in a little bit so we don't have to be so far
Sure,
out?
Yeah, you can zoom in.
Let's
just hold on tight, you guys, because sometimes when Sean zooms in, things go awry.
Try that.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to be using the Brutus Monroe craft paper. Once again, the links are down below. And I'm going to be using the Fun Stamper's Journey Citrus Cooler. That's the color I'm going to be using throughout, is this color. A little bit of the silver silk, not much, and then this stuff, which is my favorite. This is sparkle silk, and look at all that sparkle goodness. I'm not going to be using too much of this because we actually have a lot going on in the background. So I'm not going to be doing too much. Actually, I'll give you that one. Oh, it's actually already done. So we're just going to do a few on here. Just about that much. And then we will also do that with the silver. And once again, the reason I'm not going to do too much is we have some bats that are going to go in here. We have a sentiment. And then I have some, of course, kiddos that are going to be trick-or-treating on here. So I don't want to do too much, but I do want a little bit on there just to liven it up. Just that much is all we're going to be doing there. But this stuff is great. I'll bring it up close so you can see it. You have the orange, the silver, and then that sparkle silk in the background. I'm just going to clean my mat so we don't get any contamination. Now, we are entering my favorite season. I don't know how many of you out there love fall, but it's my favorite season, and I love creating cards. So the next few Make It Mondays, Chalk Couture, all of those things that I do are going to probably be fall themed because I love fall. So the next thing we're going to do while this dries up top is I want to create kind of a road for the trick-or-treaters to be trick-or-treating on. And what we're going to do to create that is we're going to be using Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink and the black soot. If you have not used these oxide inks, I love them. They are so much fun. And we're not going to be doing too much because we have a lot going on. So it's just going to be a thin layer here. And I'm going to be using a technique where you put it on a block, you add a little bit of water, and then you stamp it on there. So we really are going to be kind of stamping off of the end of it a little bit, and then we'll clean it up. So just that much. Put a little bit of water. This is his distress sprayer, and then I'm just going to do it just along the bottom to kind of create a little road here, and we're going to keep doing this until we get a nice looking road. In between each one, I'm going to take my heat tool and heat this up so it's nice and dry. And we kind of want an uneven ground. We don't want it to be perfect because roads are not perfect, as many of you know. So it's okay if we get a little bit off. But the big thing, yeah.
You want to know what this is, this gray mat.
This is the Ken Oliver craft mat.
Best ever craft mat.
The best ever craft mat. This is the large style. So there's two different sizes. There is a this size, which is, gosh, how big is this, Sean?
This is 3 feet by 2 feet, I believe. 3
feet by 2 feet. There's a smaller one, which is the one I originally got. And here's the reason why. They're expensive. This large one can be with shipping up to $60. And I did get the original one first, the smaller one, which is tiny. And once I played around with this mat and saw how amazing it was, I ended up going back to get the larger mat. It's worth every penny.
And I think we found Etsy had the, or
Blitsy has the best deal right now. And I gave you guys that link down below, but it by far had the best deal. It is great. It cleans up amazing. You can add heat to it. The only disadvantage I have found with this, and some people might say, is things stick to it. So if you're working, let's say, with like rhinestones or something, and everything, your rhinestones will stick, and some people don't like that because to pick them up can be kind of a pain. And I will say, like, when we get dog hair on here, it's a pain. But I will take that over anything else because I have stained this mat. Like, I thought the color's never coming up, and it's amazing.
Take it upstairs, add a little soap to it, boom, off.
So there we got our kind of uneven road there, the oxides.
So somebody asked a quick question about, do you have to use water with your oxide?
You do not, no. So the nice thing about oxides is you can use them normal and just put them on there. The oxides really, by doing the water, gives you kind of this chalky finish. See here? So it kind of smooths it out. And when you do it like this, if I was to add another color on top of this, it will show through. It's not going to mix. But absolutely, you don't have to use anything. You can do whatever you want. All right, the next thing we're going to be doing is adding our trick-or-treaters. And how I'm adding them, because of the technique I'm doing, I'm going to actually be using Brutus Monroe Raven Fine Embossing Powder. And I like a very ultra fine embossing powder. So his and Fun Stamper's Journey seems to be the best for me. We do need some sort of embossing ink. So this is his clear embossing ink that I'll be using. And then I'm using the Fun Stamper's Journey. These are called Creepy Kids. And I love these for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm obsessed with Halloween, so I love them. But they remind me of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but there's these little kids in it. And even though these aren't exact, they're pretty close. And because I'm using embossing, I want to make sure I get a good transfer. I will be using the Tim Holtz stamp positioner. I think he calls it actually stamp platform. And you could use this if you have a MISTI. You could use the MISTI. The reason I do this is I have to position these guys just perfectly on here. And so if I don't get a good transfer the first time on my guys, I need to go back and make sure we get another one. So I want to make sure I get a nice even transfer of that. So we're going to use this guy, which is that Eeyore? Isn't that his name? Igor?
Igor. Kind of like an Igor look.
Yeah. We're going to use the vampire, and then we're going to use this little...
Thank you, Mona, very much. That's very nice of you.
Oh, thanks, Mona. And then we're going to use this little... Oh, we might not have enough room for 3 guys. Oh, yeah, we will. We'll just make the vampire up a little more. So, get our position, and then we're going to use embossing powder on this. And the reason I'm using embossing powder versus just black ink is I'm going to be coloring with Diane Reevely's new paint pens. And I need to make sure that if I use regular ink, it might cover that. So, oh, before we do this, I almost forgot a step, Sean.
Oh, what did you do?
So, because we're using embossing powder, you want to make sure that you do not have any static on your card because your embossing powder could potentially get stuck to other places on the card. You can fix it, but this will assure that we get a lot of that static off of there. So now I have to reposition all my peeps.
That's okay.
So we've used that. In this case, if we did get a little bit of embossing powder, it wouldn't have been too big of a deal because the card is kind of a vintage look. It would have maybe added, in fact, to it. So we want this guy walking a little bit because he's kind of walking forward. We're going to position all of these happy little guys. I think that looks good. So all I need to do is make sure it's set to... Let me show you here. The rubber side here. Push down on my little guys.
Somebody, Speed would like to know again, what was that little padded thing you
It's called the Embossing Powder Prep. It's by Inka Dinka Doo. There's other versions of this out there. This is by no means the only one. But basically anything that has a powder residue is going to get that static electricity off. I think some people, I could be wrong, but I remember it. I think some people have actually used dryer sheets maybe. I don't know if that's true. I could be making this up. All right, so
don't they call it like powder magic?
Yeah, powder magic. So I'm going to take my embossing ink. This is a pretty sticky ink, but we do want to get it a good transfer, and then we can heat set it.
Miss Hartley was saying that cornstarch works just as well, which is probably which could be what's inside that bag.
It very well could be. I didn't know cornstarch would work.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in there.
Andrea says, yes, they do use dryer sheets. It does work.
All right, so you can see there, we have a nice little transfer, so I think we're good on this first set. I have a few more I'm going to be doing, but this first one looks like it's good. And really, what I'm going to do, can you grab me a piece of paper, Sean?
Mm-hmm. As in?
Just any paper will work.
Will this work?
No, that is a paper towel.
I'm sorry, paper. Sorry, I'm kind of connected with a microphone, so a little harder for me to get up and move.
I just always like to do this over a piece of paper so you keep some of your embossing powder because you don't want to... So it's really important before you use this that anything that is wet on the card, you add dry because it will... Anything that is sticky or wet, it will stick to. And I kind of make sure we get a nice, I don't want to say I beat it, but. So we can set this off to the side until we need it again. Put that in there.
Thank you, Angela. That was very nice of you.
Thanks, Angela. I don't know what. Thanks, Angela. All right. So now that I have my little guys here, we can set it. Now what's cool on this stuff is I always wait for my heat tool to get nice and hot. And then essentially, you'll see it turn from almost a powdery look to...
dull powder to almost a shine.
Yeah, it goes, and you'll see it. When I first started working with embossing powder, I was terrified of it because I thought I was going to burn my paper, but Now I love it. So I'm just going to heat this while Sean's watching the question so I can see when it turns. Oh, these guys are so cute. Aren't they, Sean?
They are very neat. I love them.
I love Halloween. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Nikki, or whoever asked that, it only works on the laptops or a desktop. None of the portables will work.
What are we talking about?
The Super Chat.
Yeah, it won't work on. It will work on Android. It won't work on
Apple phones and Apple iPads, but it will work on like a on a laptop or something like that.
So here we have them, and you can see kind of now, like you can see here. This is a perfect example before I reheat it. His leg here, you'll see one part that's not shiny. The rest of it's shiny. That's the difference. Is there's on his foot part here. We didn't hit that good enough, so I'm gonna go back and hit that. But you'll see it go to a dull, from a dull to a shiny. I guess that's the only way to really describe embossing. Isn't that how you would describe it, Sean?
Yes, it is.
Just making sure we get it, because we are going to be coloring this, so anything that's left behind won't... Perfect. So there we go. We got our 3 little trick-or-treat kids. Oh, they're so cute. I can't stand it. Now, what we're going to do is, and I'll put this here so you guys can see it better, we're going to be taking D.I.Y and Reevely's new, these are paint pens. So they are, this one is the, oh, sorry.
Remember,
we're zoomed in. That's right. This is the squeezed orange, and really all these are, let me grab a piece of black paper so you can see this. Really, they're just her paint in a pen format, and you pump them by going up and down, and you get a nice paint in there. And that's the reason I wanted to do the embossing powder, because we're going to be painting in this. And really, I'm only going to be picking certain items to color. I'm not going to be coloring everything, because we're going with that kind of, it's not vintage. What look would you say that is, Sean? It's like that was big in the 80s, wasn't it?
I think even before that. It all just depends on where you went and who actually did them.
And this is the only color we're using, is this orange, to give you that feel of those old paper bags. The rest of it will be left. So you can kind of see it's kind of coming to life, and we're going to pick different spots. Once again, here's my inspiration that I'm kind of going off of when I thought of this idea. So we're going to go around and kind of pick some other items. I'll probably start with all the pumpkins here.
Yes, Nikki, it's just like a gel pen, but yes, it is a paint. It's dilution, right?
Dilution, yeah.
Yeah. We met Diane.
She is so
nice and gives the great hugs.
She gives amazing hugs, and she was playing with these, and I told her, I was like, I need these.
And look what we have.
Yeah, they're so much fun. And the nice thing is because we did it on that embossing powder, even if I really paint over it, we're still going to get that black emboss showing through. Where if I would have done this in just regular ink, we probably would have lost some of that orange. Oh, this guy just doesn't have a pumpkin. He just has a little
sack.
He does. So I'm going to leave that actually maybe brown.
Yeah, I would too.
Maybe I should get white paint pen. I don't know. I was going to color this whole guy's shirt in, but I think that's going to be too much. What do you think? Because this, I'm going to definitely do his...
So I just saw somebody said zigzag cut the top, so it looks like you've got kind of a bag on top.
Oh, gotcha. I get what you're saying.
That kind of make a nice idea, but I don't think we have a pair of those.
Pair of what?
Zigzag.
What are you talking about?
You know when you got the zigzag scissors and you just cut the paper so it's...
Oh, I might. I'll have to look really quick. That's a really good idea, whoever said that.
Yeah. It went by so fast, I went, oh, Christopher's here. Hello, Christopher.
Christopher, I'm using your stuff. Woohoo! Yep. I love your embossing powder. I just want you to know that.
It is very awesome stuff.
It's so awesome. So we're going to go through, maybe I'll make his, I'm just going to hit his shirt a little bit here with some of this orange. I don't want color in too much because really on those grocery bags. They didn't have a lot colored in, but
some people said maybe green or purple for that bag.
Yeah, but the problem is really on this, if I'm going with that style, they didn't have anything besides the black and the... Do you get what I'm trying to achieve here, Sean? Or
yes,
no?
I do.
So what do you think? Do you think I should, or I think it'll take away from it?
I think you need to do some, since the other two do have colors, then something with that guy.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna color his shoes orange. I'm gonna do some other things orange.
There you go. Somebody thought maybe a white bag. Well, there you go. Freaky eyes.
I guess I could do... See, but they don't really have white. They literally just used orange.
Yeah.
But what I'll do is... You remember these bags, don't you?
Of course I do.
I loved them. They were like, this almost reminds me of Halloween, these grocery bags. So for those of you who are just joining that didn't see my inspiration, this is kind of what we're working off of. When you would go to your grocery store and they would have these old grocery sacks that really only had the one orange color and everything else was playing off of black and, you know, basically that one color. So that's the reason I'm not adding a ton of different colors, is I'm really playing off of that feel to it and everything. In fact, I think I'm gonna do his hair. Well, I'm gonna get my black paint pen and fill that in.
People are enjoying your painting.
Yeah, it's not really coloring as it is painting.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be adding some more stuff, so it's not just this here. We're gonna be adding some more color in here to kind of give it that look of those grocery bags. But so far, that's what we have. Oh, he has a patch down here. We can color in the patch. So we also have the black version of this pen. We do have white. We could add white, but I think it's going to take away from that feel once again. But we do have a black one. And you can see the black. And all you have to do to get it to work is pump it a little bit more. We're going to color in Dracula's head in black. I do not have patience for this sometimes. There we go. And it does give it a, I don't want to say a chalk finish. There's definitely not a glossy, it's not a glossy look to it. You can see right there the orange is kind of
dulling itself.
Yeah, it's dulling itself. So, and then we're going to add some more black to other elements here. So I'm going to add some to the grocery sack. I say sack now because I get made fun of if I say another word. It's not funny.
We love it though.
All right. What else should we color? You know what? I'm thinking about coloring in this whole thing. I'm doing it.
You gonna do that whole thing?
Yeah, why not, right?
All right.
I mean, he needs to have... Look at that. It's going to dry a little bit duller, so...
You mean?
What?
Christopher is making fun of you.
What did he say?
The way you say that other word.
I'm not saying it.
I know.
I'm not doing it. I got made fun of so bad, and I still get made fun of, so I don't say that word anymore. I don't do it. So once again, it doesn't really matter if you hit, since we use the Brutus Monroe embossing powder, because of its consistency, even if I paint over it, that's going to show through because... And so let's see, that's a little bit of his back there. That's his hand. So there we go. I really like that.
Perfect.
If you wanted to, you could take your black and just kind of run over it, and the orange will separate out. So that's up to you if you want to do that. You don't have to by any means, but it separates out a little bit more. Sean, anywhere else we need orange, do you think?
I don't think so. I think you got it perfect.
So the next thing we are going to do is we have a Riverstone color of Fun Stamper's Journey and a black color. And I wanted to put some bats in the sky. And I'm using the little inkers. I don't remember what stamp set this is called, but I gave you the link down below because I really liked the bat on here. Sometimes bats can come off either as too cutesy or And so I wanted one that is going to produce, here I'll stamp it on this one first so you can see it.
So somebody was just asking, can you use your heat gun to help make the paint dry faster?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? It's like a, I don't know what you would call that pattern in it, but
it's almost like a scratch, stitch, or a, I don't know. I'm sure there's a word for that.
So we're using a mixture of 2 different colors here. We're going to be using the Riverstone and then also this black. So I can show you the difference in colors. The Riverstone, well, that's got a little bit more black on it. The Riverstone is just a little bit of a lighter. You really can't see it too much. Let me see. So let me stamp that off. There we go. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to do black. Kind of like it better. Yeah, I like it better. So we're going to stamp a little bit off and then some, of course, on. Right in the center. We're not going to do too many because unless they're in...
Oh, thanks, Melissa. It's called cross hatch.
Unless they're in... Oh, cross hatch. Thank you.
I knew there was a word for it. I just couldn't remember. Yes, thank you very much, Melissa.
Unless they're in Transylvania, there wouldn't be that many bats, would there?
You never know.
I think that's enough bats, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. So there's our bats. I'm really digging this card. I know it's not for everyone.
Tamara had said something about broomstick. I didn't quite catch it. It went away too fast.
Okay, so we're done with that stamp set. And we can move this bad boy out for just a second. The next thing we're going to do is, while that completely dries, we're going to work on the sentiment. Now, the sentiment is coming from that same stamp set.
Oh, Bats and Broomsticks.
What?
Bats and Broomsticks. That's the name of the... I think it's the name of that.
Stamp set?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a great stamp set.
Yeah.
I love it. So we are going to be stamping this sentiment on here, which is going to be called, from that same set, it's got all of these, what I call, I shouldn't keep saying it's the Tim Burton set, but that's what it reminds me of. It totally reminds me of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. So we're using this Trick or Treat here. And I already cut these out. But this is Riverstone and Black Licorice, and I used one of my favorite products, Sean. I used the Gina K die. So the way these work is you have a single stitch, then you have a double stitch. The single stitch, when used with the double stitch, that double stitch will cover up the single stitch, and then you just get a nice little layer on there. And just like we did with the card, we're going to be using, once again, Brutus Monroe embossing ink. We're also going to be using Brutus Monroe Raven to get the sentiment, which is Trick or Treat in the middle. We originally went with this gray to get kind of mimic the moon in a way. And it does. It's cute. I think that's pretty centered, isn't it?
I don't know. Your head was in the way, but
oh
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Okay, so once again, we're just going to position that. We're going to take our Brutus Monroe clear embossing ink. Make sure we get it nice. Got the cord in the way there. For good measure. And I'm going to hit that again just one time because I don't think I got the top portion of that. Ta-da! So now that you can see on there where it's kind of left behind that little bit of that color. The embossing ink I've been using recently is the Brutus Monroe clear embossing ink. Just because I tend to use the Raven embossing. Uh-oh, I forgot to do my trick, so hopefully this will be okay. We might need a paintbrush. And I prefer either this or Fun Stamper's Journey embossing powder because I want an ultra fine. I tend to like ultra fine because I get the best results. And I didn't use my little trick. Can you hand me what
do you need?
A paintbrush? Oh wait, I have it over here.
Oh yeah.
So because I did not use my trick, as you guys all know, that I just told you is the best thing in my life, I'm just going to take a fine paintbrush and get it out of the areas I don't want my embossing powder. Because anywhere that embossing powder is, you are going to get a little black speckle. Which on here wouldn't have been a huge deal because it's kind of the moon, and so those we could have lied and said, oh, those are craters. That was totally my plan. but it is just a little trick. You can also, after setting it, heat setting it, you can take a... Oh, these are trees. How cute is that?
Yeah.
I just now got that.
Show it up close.
They're trees.
Oh, all right, there you go.
How fun is that? I didn't notice that on the stamp. All right. We're going to set this just off to the side. And when I save all the embossing powder I can. Like, to me, it's gold. So I put that in there. Some people use coffee filters. Other people use different things. And now we can heat set this. Now, I will hear people say all the time, what heat tool do you get? And I've seen other different ones. A heat tool does matter. You want consistent heat. You want something that gets hot and is powerful. So I like the one I got from Fun Stamper's Journey. There are other ones out there. And I'm just going to set this. Once again, you'll know it's set because it will go from a dull to a nice glossy look. Did I get it all? I think so. Sure, why not? Alright, so you see how it's now nice and glossy? Glossy, glossy. And we already cut this out.
Thank you very much, Vita. That's very kind of you.
Thanks. So now that this is set, we don't need to let it dry too long. You can feel right away it's pretty good to go. Oh, look at I had a little bit of the Dracula back there. So I'm just going to put, this is the Fun Stamper's Journey adhesive, which I really like. And here's that single stitch. And this, you're going to cover up with the double stitch. It's going to go right over that.
Yeah, it creates, we think, approximately a 1/16 of an inch border, which makes it so perfect for these things.
Yeah, because you don't want too much of an offset, but you want enough to where, see, it's perfect. So it hides the stitch behind there. Isn't that cool? I love it. And I have a little bit of embossing powder left over, so I'm just going to whisk that away. Dry off. We have only a few more steps, but let's go ahead and do that. So this was the beginning. We had this that I used my silver silk on. So now I can go ahead and fold this in, and it's going to give me a perfectly sized A2 card, which I'm a huge fan of. Someone asked me in one of my live videos why A2 for me. And the only thing I can tell you is when you start doing card designs and stuff, you're going to find the card that you really prefer. I know Christopher does, he does a lot of 6x6 cards. So you just find that card that you like, and this happens to be my favorite one. But we have that nice little silver silk all the way around. This is the Citrus Cooler paper. That's the ink we used and the color pen. And I just created a ever such small offset. It's actually, I don't remember the exact, but it's not a very big offset. And I'm just going to put my adhesive down on this. I like this adhesive roller, and I also like the Scotch ATG gun. So Advanced Tape Glider.
So somebody's asking about your tools being green. Are those are your...
Fun Stamper's Journey tools come in this bright orange and the bright green. So their color scheme is kind of this green and orange color. So that's what you're seeing. All right, so then this is going to go right here as an offset. Once again, it's just going to have a little bit of that orange. And you can look at your everything to make sure it's dry, but that paint dries pretty quick. So, and we are going to go ahead and put some adhesive on that. Oops. And this one, we just want to make sure you get it perfectly centered here, because once again, we don't have too much of an offset. There we go. So we have our card here. I also put the color silk on the back just because it's completed. We have the bats there in the background, but we do have our sentiment. Sentiment is going to end up going right here in this corner. And we do have an option of adding twine. Some people like to add twine to their cards. I have black twine and a black and white twine. I'm going to choose a black and white. I'm not going to be too much because the sentiment's a little bigger than I thought it was going to be, which is okay. And the trick on this, what I do, is I just take however much, I take how big I want the circle. In this case, I'm going to do this 3 here, and put it around my 3 fingers, and then I'm just going to lay it, and then before I do anything, this tail end, all I do at first is get some washi tape.
Everybody's favorite.
This is really the only thing I use washi tape for in my craft room. Isn't that embarrassing? Like, I bought all this washi tape because the washi tape, you know, was a huge, like, everyone needed washi tape, and I use it to do this mostly. That's so funny. So then you just kind of mix it up and however you want it. In this case, it's just going to be peeking through. So I'm going to bring it off to the side over here so it's not off the card. And there's no rhyme or reason. You can make it in the circular motion. You can do it like a flower. Some people just do messy. I'm just going to go with the messy look here. So I'm going to go right about there. And then to secure it further, we'll use our Fun Stampers Journey foam squares. So I'll move this out of the way for just a sec. Oh, you know what? I was going to add...
You're going to add some of the
That's right.
sparkling...
I was going to add the sparkle silk to this. Where did my sparkle silk go? So I'm just going to add a little bit of silver and sparkle silk to this. I forgot about. And this stuff dries pretty quick, these two. The color ones take a little bit longer. Now, when it's a sentiment like this, I'm a little bit of a control freak, and I want to kind of control where it goes because it will block your sentiment. And, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I don't want the silver to go on the sentiment itself. So there's the silver. And then this stuff is really just going to give it almost a pearl essence look. But it will stand apart enough from the silver. You could, if you like the messy look, just splatter this on and get that look on it. But I prefer, I don't know, I just don't like it on my sentiment. So you could do this, but I guess that one's not as bad on the sentiment. And if you wanted to, you could heat this again, but these dry so quick. I can bring it up to the camera here so you can see the difference in the silver and the sparkle silk. Isn't that cool? I love that stuff.
It is very cool stuff.
It's my favorite little thing to add to cards. All right, so we'll make sure that looks dry, which it does. I'm gonna just turn it over, and these are the Fun Stamper Journey foam squares. You don't have to use these, but what I like about them is they're dense. Some foam squares get kind of a squishy.
A little too squishy. Too
squishy, and these give you enough of a firmness, but they also give you enough of a height. So I don't like my foam squares to be too much off of the card. I also like to put a lot of foam squares on it. And the reason why is I've had it where I've used foam squares, and over time, because some people do keep your cards, I know that's a shocker out there, but they do, and I've looked back at some of my previous cards and saw some drooping. I don't like drooping, Sean.
Drooping is not allowed.
Drooping is not allowed. Oh, my color silk wasn't 100% dry.
That's okay.
Which is okay in that stuff because it's just going to give a smushy look. The one you want to be careful on is the colors. So if your color ones aren't dry, like I did some citrus cooler in the background of the card, if those aren't dry, they're going to smush and they're going to give you a different look to it. Our dogs must have saw a cat in the backyard. Sorry. All right. So we have this all ready to go. Now the nice thing about using foam squares on this is it's going to serve two things. It's going to pop your sentiment up, but it's also going to make sure your twine is held in place. And see, I didn't want it poking out too much. And actually I do want that one to be a little bit more out that way. I'm going to add just a little bit more of my washi tape on that end there. There we go. And now I can position this.
Somebody asked if they make a black square foam squares.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. They make a black foam square. A lot of people, you'll see two tricks on that. I'll give you two tricks on foam squares. number one, you'll see a lot of people color the side of their foam squares to match their paper because some people don't want to turn it and see the color. You can do that, but it will get ink on your hands. The trick is go get foam sheets in the kids' area of crafts, like Michael's and stuff. You can get the foam, like they'll make foam houses and stuff. Usually those are both double-sided and they're all different colors, and you can use whatever color is closest to what you're working with. So they have usually black and reds. They have a whole rainbow of colors, and then you just cut it down to what you need. It's the exact same concept, and that way it does the color for you. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I want a little bit more of this orange, kind of to fill up some of these dead areas. Oh, you know what? Let's do another bat. Little bat. We'll do a little bat, and let's do it. Where's my colors? Here it is. So I'm just going to add, I'm going to make sure he is a good transfer, which it is. And let's add a little bat right there to fill up the space. Sweet. And then you can just add whatever you want. I'm just going to add a little bit more controlled citrus cooler dots here. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the color silks. Or the sparkle silk. I love the sparkle silk, you guys. You have no idea.
We kind of found another way of using it that we may have to show sometime.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, so they have liquid color now. Fun Stamper's Journey. And you can actually use this mixed with some of your liquid color. And it gives an amazing look. All right, there we go. Dun, 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 dun. Does it remind you of a paper bag, Sean?
It does, in a way. I love that. So
this was our inspiration. Obviously, this orange, I tried to find a color to really match that.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close, but it's like hypercolor orange.
Let's see if we can't look that kind of together.
It's close, but it's not. Inspiration. Dun, 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 dun. Card. Inspiration. Card.
Allie, you and Christopher both want it, I know.
Want what?
Like this card.
Isn't it fun? It reminds me of my childhood. Because these are what you would go into the grocery store. I'm adding more orange. I'm fussing now. When I would go in the grocery store, remember? And then, you know what else I used to do with paper bags, Sean? Because I was poor and I couldn't afford the cool, like, covering your science books and stuff. So I would use paper bags.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, I did too. We did the very same thing.
Oh, are you saying I did too and I was rich? So no, that's not a poor thing? Because to me it was a poor thing. Because they had really cool, like Lisa Frank and all that stuff, and you could put really cool, you know, covers, and I had paper bags. Wah, wah, wah. And then I would decorate it.
I just saw Auntie Tay. Hello.
I would decorate it, Sean, to make it look like I was, like, cool. I'd be like, that's a Lisa Frank one. I don't know what you're talking about. Look at how colorful those animals are. They'd be like, did you color that? I'd be like, this is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
All right, guys, what do you guys think? Do you love it or do you hate it?
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
So sometimes, you know, you don't have to do a lot of color on your card if you're going for a kind of a look like this. And you want to make sure on the craft paper, though, if you're going to be doing a lot of coloring or using the oxide inks like we did down here, you want to make sure it is a nice weight of craft paper. And if it's not, all you have to do is take 2 pieces of your craft paper and stick them together using your Scotch ATG. Is it ATG or AGT? No, AGT is America's Got Talent, huh?
ATG, Advanced Tape.
See, I always mix it up, and then I'm like, I use my Scotch ATG, and people's like, America's Got Talent? You gotta use your AGT gun? So, there we go. All done. Done.
So, somebody, once again, what are you using to color?
These are Diane Reilly Delusion paint. So essentially, it's kind of some of her paint colors, and she put it into this style here, and now you can paint with it. So in this style, I wanted to make sure that whatever I painted had a dull finish to it, because my inspiration was that dull look you can see here. So you want to make sure you weren't using a glossy pen or something that was going to be too glossy when it's finished, but you still wanted to get the colors. And the whole reason I only use the one color is that's how those grocery bags were. They didn't have white in it. It was just usually orange. During Christmas, I think they used red maybe. These pens are not refillable. I give you the link down below. They're not too expensive and there's a lot in there. So it was just a little inspiration. When I was actually sitting at work today, I was going in a completely different direction with this card. I sent the picture to Sean of my inspiration, and I said, I think I'm going to do this tonight. And at first, I think he was like, okay.
I thought you were going to bring home your own paper bag and just do it. I'm going, we don't have anything that big in stamps. But then you did a card.
Are you
I did.
insane?
I really thought you were going to make a bag and going, what?
You thought I was no, that was just the inspiration of the card.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I was going to make a link on the catalog. I've had a lot of people request Fun Stampers Journey catalogs, so I am going to be looking to my Facebook page today, facebook.com/Ken's Creations page. I'm going to be doing a link, basically, if you want a catalog from me, fill this out, because there's a lot of people that want a catalog, and I keep forgetting about it, so there you go. What do you think, Sean?
I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Laura,
if you don't have Facebook, that's okay. Go ahead and email me. You can email me at my email address. It's hesskr@yahoo.com.
And Nancy wants to know, have you sent them out yet?
Fill out this link again, and I can verify it against my first sheet. So yeah, lots of fun.
Super cute. It's correct.
I love it.
Love it, love it, love it.
There you go. Do you guys have any questions on the technique? Or I guess if you didn't know my inspiration, you'd be like, dude, that's pretty basic. Right? But it's so fun. It totally reminds me of when I was a kid. And we would get these, and they were our, our trick-or-treat bags. I remember it
all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Isn't that what it is? It's like a trick-or-treat bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
These pens are awesome. Do you guys want to see the colors really quick? I can show you the colors.
Yeah.
So I will show you the two different types of pens I have. Here you go, Shawnee. Will you show them those colors?
Okay, here's some coming up here. So you can see it at least. So we've got this.
Now these are the
beautiful purple.
Whoops. Well, and here's the. So these are the. I can get it now. Thanks. These are the Diane Reevely Delusions. And they come in a yellow,
right here.
Red, this nice green color, which once you shake it, you'll see it really, orange. So this is the 5-pack of colors. Let me shake the purple so you can see it. This is the 5-pack of colors, but then there's also an add-on pack that will give you black and white. So those are the whole set. Now, they
are not refillable.
Yeah, they're not refillable. There is another company, and I didn't give you this link, but you can use my Amazon link to look them up. And I really do like these. They have a lot more colors, and they're also paint. Let me grab all the colors they have. The only reason I don't send a lot of people to them is they're quite a bit more expensive. So these are, if you want to hold that really quick, these are the graphic. They're by Derwent. You probably can't see that, but Derwent, they also do like color pencils, and they're the same concept. They have pen or paint in them. They have a lot more colors, but like I said, they're a little bit more. They're definitely more expensive than this. But you have bright pinks and purples and teals, and these are vibrant. Let me grab. What happened to my black piece of paper? Oh, here we go. We can just use this one.
Somebody just asked if did you put a white thing on the inside of the card so they could write a sentiment?
No. Why would I do that? I didn't shake this one good enough. I need to probably not set these on their side, huh? Oh, there we go. That's much better. Why I love these pens, I'll show you, is they get nice and flooded to where you can flick them. So you take it along your finger, and you can flick it and see what it does.
Nice.
Yeah. And I haven't been able to do that with the Diane pens, and the reason why is
because hers is steel tipped, isn't it?
Yeah, well, these are too, but these ones flood themselves. See how they flood? Which is probably not I don't know if that's something they wanted, where hers doesn't. Hers is very much so, it just goes into the tip and does it. Where these ones you can do.
I think hers is ballpoint, maybe? There's a ball in the end? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Could be. But that's the reason I love these ones, because I can do... And that's what to be honest, that's what I mostly use them for, is to get that flicking look. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But they're a little bit more expensive, but they are definitely vibrant.
So, who makes those pens? The ones you're
These are called... Here, maybe I can get it close up there. Derwent. D-E-R-W-E-N-T. And they're called Graphic. G-R-A-P-H-I-K. And they come in a set where you can get all of them, like I did. But they're expensive. I think the whole set, which is all of these, was like 50 some bucks.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was going to use them to color, but now I just flick them. That's all I use these for. Seriously, that's what I use them for now, is to make flicking looks.
The flick look.
Yes. Derwent. Yes. Intense is the pencils. So the same company that does the Derwent Intense pencils, they're the ones that do these. And you can see how colorful they are.
They're brilliant. They're very nice.
They're very brilliant. And like I said, I use them to flick, mostly. It's probably not the best use of them, but that's what I use them for.
All right.
So.
Do what you want.
So there you go. Any other questions, guys, before we sign off?
Shove off.
I don't think we say shove off. That's rude. Look at that mat. Look how clean it gets. I love this mat. Look at how dirty my station is now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So there you guys are. Thank you so much for joining today. And we will be back Wednesday, I think. We're going to come back Wednesday and do, I think, a comparison. But if not, we're working on, we just posted our photo review of the print pocket penner, and now we are working on our first review of the maker, which I'm so obsessed with. So definitely we'll be back Wednesday, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks for joining me. And
thank you.
Woo!
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.